This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jude Somers. Policeman Bluejay by L. Frank Baum. An introduction. I must admit that the great success of the Twinkle Tales has astonished me as much as it has delighted the solemn-eyed, hard-working publishers. Therefore, I have been encouraged to write a new Twinkle book, hoping with all my heart that my little friends will find it worthy to occupy a place beside the others on their pet bookshelves. And because the children seem to especially love the story of Bandit Jim Crow, and bird life is sure to appeal alike to their hearts and their imaginations, I have again written about birds. The tale is fantastical, and intended to amuse rather than instruct. Yet many of the traits of the feathered folk, herein described, are in accordance with natural history teachings, and will serve to acquaint my readers with the habits of birds in their wildwood homes. At the same time, my birds do unexpected things, because I have written a fairy tale, and not a natural history. The question is often asked me whether Twinkle and Chubbins were asleep or awake when they encountered these wonderful adventures, and it grieves me to reflect that the modern child has been deprived of fairy tales to such an extent that it does not know, as I did when a girl, that in a fairy story it does not matter whether one is awake or not. You must accept it as you would a fragrant breeze that cools your brow, a draught of sweet water, or the delicious flavor of a strawberry, and be grateful for the pleasure it brings you, without stopping to question too closely its source. For my part, I am glad if my stories serve to while away a pleasant hour before bedtime, or keep one contented on a rainy day. In this way they are sure to be useful, and if a little tenderness for the helpless animals and birds is acquired with the amusement, the value of the tales will be doubled. Laura Bancroft. End of an introduction. Section 1 of Policeman Bluejay. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jude Somers. Policeman Bluejay by L. Frank Baum. Chapter 1. Little Ones in Trouble. "Seems to me, Chub," said Twinkle, "that we're lost." "Seems to me, Twink," said Chubbins, "that it isn't we that's lost, it's the path." "It was here a minute ago," declared Twinkle. "But it isn't here now," replied the boy. "That's true," said the girl. It really was queer. They had followed the straight path into the great forest, and had only stopped for a moment to sit down and rest, with the basket between them and their backs to a big tree. Twinkle winked just twice, because she usually took a nap in the afternoon, and Chubbins merely closed his eyes for a second to find out if he could see that long streak of sunshine through his pink eyelids. Yet during this second, which happened while Twinkle was winking, the path had run away, and left them without any guide or notion which way they ought to go. Another strange thing was that when they jumped up to look around them, the nearest trees began sliding away in a circle, leaving the little girl and boy in a clear space. And the trees continued moving back and back, farther and farther, until all their trunks were jammed tight together, and not even a mouse could have crept between them. They made a solid ring around Twinkle and Chubbins, who stood looking at this transformation with wondering eyes. "It's a trap," said Chubbins, "and we're in it." "It looks that way," replied Twinkle thoughtfully. "Isn't it lucky, Chub, we have a basket with us? If it wasn't for that, we might starve to death in our prison." "Oh, well," replied the little fellow, "the basket won't last long. There's plenty of starve in the bottom of it, Twinkle, any way you can fix it." "That's so, unless we can get out. Whatever do you suppose made the trees behave that way, Chubbins?" "Don't know," said the boy. Just then a queer creature dropped from a tree into the ring and began moving slowly toward them. It was flat in shape, like a big turtle, only it hadn't a turtle's hard shell. Instead, its body was covered with sharp prickers like rose thorns, and it had two small red eyes that looked
Sample complete. Ready to continue?